Okay, what is a Starlink Gen 3? What is my setup? How does it work? What's the cost? Is it amazing? Yes. Okay, let's go into it. So this is the power supply and the router, and then this is an aftermarket mount for them. So I'm going to mount this in the under compartment of my RV and have the router and the link set up there. I have a long cable, I think it's 75 feet, something like that. And then Starlink itself just has a 120 volt plug-in. It uses about 65 watts, which in the RV can seem like a lot when you're running on batteries and inverters and solar. There's a conversion to run this on DC if you want to get it. I'm not too familiar with that. The setup itself I have here is I've got this extra mount, and I just got it off the internet. I'll put a link to that both down below. I'll put a link to this down below it. But anyway, the Starlink itself is easy to use, easy to set up. So that mounts on there like that, and then these cables, you just pull them in and out. They've got a friction clip on them. They don't have a clip like the old Ethernet. But anyway, this is pretty substantial. It actually feels kind of heavy. See, it slides in and out like this. Goes on this mount, which can be used on a pole like this. This is like the old dish satellite mount that was on your house forever and ever and ever, but they've adapted it to the Dish Gen 3 Starlink, and this is what the Starlink looks like. As far as using it goes, it works absolutely fantastic anywhere and everywhere out in the wilderness, all across North America and South America and everywhere. You can look up the usage of it. There's two plans options at this point, so I can't quote what it'll be in the future, but right now we pay $165 a month for completely unlimited and roaming and mobile. So if you want to mount this flat on the roof of your RV, you can mount it flat or at that angle. It's supposed to point north, but I guess it works in roaming if you're driving around as well. That's currently $165 a month in the US. There's another option for 50 gigabytes for $50, which would be a good option for weekend warriors. With the 165 plan, you can suspend it anytime you want, but the way that works is a little tricky. Like, if I'm not using it, but I'm going camping on the 15th of the month, I can activate it on the 15th of the month, and I will pay essentially half of 165, so I'll pay about $80 for the month. And then if I put it back on sleep mode, deactify it, make it inactive, the payment works until your next billing cycle. So I set mine up for the very first of the month, so I get billed day one of the month for Starlink. So it kind of makes it work for me, and that's because that's the day I activated it. Your anniversary date's the day you activate. So I just happened to activate it right on the first of the month, so I know if I'm not going to be using it, I need to turn it off by the first of the month. And then if I do activate it like 2 weeks into the month or 3 weeks into the month, I get prorated for that month, and then I can deactivate it again. That works good for me when I want to use it camping in the summer. I activate it and use it. When I'm not using it at home, I can deactivate it and not worry about it for the next couple of months where it's winter and we won't be traveling. So that's my take on Starlink. I have had super high response rates. I have been able to do team meetings and work online and everything else with it. So if you're on the fence with Starlink, the pros are data works amazing. It works everywhere. You can connect your cell phones and do cell phone Wi-Fi calling. and have connectivity where you generally wouldn't. The cons are the expense. This for me was $600 to buy it from the Starlink website. I've got some accessories here. I've got an extra cable, so one's mounted on my house and one's mounted mobile for my RV. $165 a month is a lot for internet, but if it works and works really, really well, great. And you don't have to mess around with cell phones and cell towers and cell repeaters and Wi-Fi hotspots from your cell phone, things like that. So that's my take on Starlink. If you've got it and love it, tell me about it. I do know there's a new Mini available, which is a little smaller, uses less power. I don't think the internet connectivity is quite as good because it's a pretty big dish, and I think it might come with the 50 gig plan only, but I know this one has 2 plans available right now. $165 a month for mobile unlimited and $50 a month for 50 gig. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your mom, get in your RV, go RVing.